Well,
So
like I feel like you're still kind of innocent. I haven't heard of the big like Noah cancellation or the big Noah controversy yet, but like Twitter, I find just it creates that because the longer you spend on there, the more like even saying something benign like, "Hey, I've had a wonderful soup today, good soup." Like someone is going to be like, "Oh yeah, of course you would say that, you fucking coward," right? And then immediately like, "Oh, why are we fighting?" And now we have a blood feud, and like I didn't know it originated from something. As
yeah, it's like
benign
I
as the
like
soup.
this soup was so good. And it's like, so you don't like cereal then? You
Yeah.
hate cereal? You want everyone that likes cereal to die instead of soup? It's like that's not what I said. I mean,
No.
yeah, that's the meme, but
Yeah.
I totally hear you.
Hi Noah, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Lance?
I'm
Serfs TV?
fantastic. I guess, do you want to give everyone a quick introduction to yourself and where they can find you?
Oh yeah, sure. My name is Noah Samsen, and you can find me on YouTube at Noah Samsen, or at Twitter at I think it's also Noah Samsen or N Samsen. And yeah, I make YouTube content. So some of it's political left type content. Some of it's just commentary. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. So
People are saying I'm very quiet on your stream. You might want to right-click my face and then click on mute or click on increase the volume ever so slightly.
just end the call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Just
the
hit end call.
desktop volume really quiet, so that should be better. Yeah, that should be a lot better. Back to normal.
Nice.
I had it on low for Dark Souls because all those dang goblins are really.
I hear
like to
you're the
yell.
greatest Dark Souls player on the internets now.
Yeah, the community reached out and they sent me the plaque, so it should be here in a couple months. Really exciting.
That is really cool. But seriously, good on you for being able to be okay at that game. I'm bad at that game because the game has a hard level of difficulty, and that's why I struggle.
Oh, definitely. Have you tried beating any of them or?
The one for PlayStation the 4th, and I'm not nerding out very well right now. Which one is that? The
I think there's
the unique, the
Demon
one that's
Souls or
Look it up.
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne.
Or...
It's Bloodborne. Bloodborne.
Oh, Bloodborne. Okay.
Yeah, I tried to bleed
Gotcha.
Bloodborne. I tried to bleat Bloodborne, but it bleeded me.
Tried to
It
bleed.
bleeded me bad. It was rough. I do have one present to give you at the start of this. Oh fuck! It just changed. Okay, so I did an unofficial poll about who had the best mustache on the left in 2021. And I was excited to say that you were number one, voted out of all 10 people who were contestants, and it just in the last 2 seconds switched to second place. So
Who
first,
did I lose to?
Cody
Tell me the
Shoddy
truth.
from some more news.
Oh yeah.
By such
He's
a
got
thin
a beard.
He does.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
guess
fair.
it counts. Facial
not
hair.
fair.
Yeah. Okay,
But
fair. I'll take second.
But I am proud to announce that you have beaten Sam Cedar, Hassan Piker, We're in Hell, Vosh, Hates Vadim, Big Joel, Matt, and $27 all together.
Wow.
So
Well, thank you all for being so nice about my mustache. I'm glad I didn't shave it. I can't shave it now. It's part of the brand. Rip.
it's true. Okay, so why don't I start with this? What made you want to get into the video talkie?
Okay. Well, I've worked on YouTube doing different stuff. Like I started out like 3 years ago, music video editing, like local stuff, like Cole Bennett, if you watch any of that, Lyrical Lemonade, like the homemade music video stuff. I eventually transitioned into doing visuals, and that led me to editing for other people's YouTube channels. And then at a certain point, I knew I had done like comedy sketches on Twitter and stuff in the past. And eventually I was like, and I'd also done like little YouTube stuff here and there. There's some videos on my channel that are like, 13 years old that are just me like with a camcorder. So it's kind of been something I wanted to do. But yeah, it wasn't until this year in like May that I started, like I said, like I'll try to do a video once a week or just, continually do it. And yeah, so it was this year that I fully started, but I've kind of been flirting with it for most of my life since I was a kid, basically.
What inspired you to start making political videos?
I guess like my political radicalization process, sort of. I'm trying to remember what specific. I guess like discovering BreadTube. So I made that video, the Left Tube Guide, and that was like my experience of like just figuring out that there was a bunch of kind of left-leaning political content. A lot of it's really, really good. So that is kind of how I discovered it, and I kind of stumbled upon it actually as I was making a video that was a response video to Ben Shapiro. I think it was kind of one of those. It happened to me that way before I knew people already did that, and then I saw, oh, that's like a thing people do, and then yeah, I started watching to see what other people do, and it was like stuff I already, wanted to talk about and stuff that I believe in. So it kind of led me into watching more of the genres, see what people do, and trying to do more of that. So yeah.
Who of all the people in those lists were like some of your biggest inspirations?
I think like the video that like totally got me hooked was one of the H Bomber guy videos, probably climate denial, or I mean just any like the vaccine videos, but like was more recent. But
I think he's the funniest.
They were like so good. Yeah, no, he's a really funny guy. And yeah, like anyone that I've talked about in videos before have been a part of that, definitely.
Okay, I gotta ask this because everyone always asks me this when I show your videos on stream. Do you edit them all yourself?
I do, yeah.
Okay, because everyone is like, your editing is so important. How does he do the editing? Who does he hire as an editor? And I was like, I'm pretty sure he probably edits it. I'm gonna guess, but that's satisfying to hear.
Yeah, it's I think like editing is I'd say it's one of my strong suits. I kind of feel like sometimes I lean on it because I don't think I've developed my writing skills that well yet, which is okay. Like I'm learning and stuff. But I've been, I've worked with, if you know Noel Miller, he's like one of the guys from TMG. I've edited his like main channel videos for almost 2 years now.
Okay.
And a lot of it is like learning the process of like timing and making things punchy and funny and everything like that. And stuff like that. So it's definitely it's I've had a lot of practice basically, but yeah.
Are you like a full-time freelance editor?
Yeah, for the past couple years basically. Yeah.
Cool. So how did you first start deciding what you wanted to take on for topics? Because you are one of the few people who's gone into some regions that others dare not venture, such as the world of the tactics. And, I mean, some people have done a little bit of an exploration into that stuff, but like not so much deep dives, I would say.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's like a kind of an overlap of commentary. YouTube is really, like really highly prioritizes talking about TikTok. It's kind of like something that's, been a thing for probably 3 years now. Some of the biggest videos out of commentary YouTube, are about TikToks or weird trends on TikToks and things like that. And I haven't seen a lot of leftists cover it, like a handful, but that was just kind of something that collided. Because yeah, I basically started out, I was watching a lot of TikTok, and I would find these really weird guys, and they'd just be doing something that everyone knew was very like, what? Stop doing that. What are you doing? And then I just start like originally it was just like I wouldn't even write anything down. I would just like start filming, be like, look at like, what is going on here? And then eventually I started to develop a process of like, developing specifically problems. And then, yeah, most recently, I found a landlord that makes TikToks of him evicting people. And
that was a great series.
Yeah. Very, sort of, dystopian, but, some other people have made videos about that kind of stuff, like where you're looking at it from a leftist perspective, but that's only been kind of recently. It's basically just finding like people that are doing bad things and being like, "What? Look at this shit. This is bad." I don't know. It kind of sounds kind of reductive when I put it that way, but
that's how you first started exploring like the world of TikTok, or specifically, did you just think like that was a gap being left by a lot of other content creators? Or is it just like you were like, oh, this is interesting?
Organically.
Okay.
Yeah. I just sort of stumbled upon it and was like, yeah, I mean, I would want to talk about this anyway, so I may as well just try it. And like, yeah, I mean, for my first 10 videos, it was, I had around a couple thousand subscribers, and it was like a couple hundred people would see it. And I look back and a lot of them are bad, and a lot of them, like, they're just not as good, but some of those videos are my biggest videos now, because as you get traction, the algorithm pushes them. And but yeah, it was just me like talking about, because I was using the app a lot. I don't use it as much anymore, thankfully, but honestly, it would be probably good for content purposes to like get back into it, because it's the most I think it's the most common, like one of the highest traffic apps in I mean, it definitely is one of them, but it might be the most, like as of in the last couple months. So like in terms of traffic and daily use, basically.
Well, I was gonna say, you know what's wild is that like I used to consider TikTok to be the only social media app that wasn't completely corrupted, because like I'm an addict to Twitter, I'm an addict to like Reddit, I'm an addict to YouTube, I'm an addict to all these things, and like they make my life worse. I can admit it, you know, that like I'm angrier when I go on TikTok. When I go on Twitch for an hour. But TikTok was always like, wow, what a cute pet. And like this person can do a backflip and a handstand at the same time that he's reciting Shakespeare, and like that's inspiring, and you're juggling backwards. So I had no idea about landlord talk or eviction talk or any of the even worse talks that you've kind of like stumbled across. So you've opened a whole new Pandora's box.
Yeah, I mean that's good. So that's good that it was like that for you, because that's how the algorithm, like the app, is supposed to work. Like you're supposed to open it and see a bunch of stuff that you really like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like if it's showing you good entertaining content that's like funny, cute dogs, whatever. Like my main account I love it. Like it makes me laugh. I could watch it for hours. But then I go on my other account where I actively seek out these sort of freaks, and it's definitely, there's a lot of little corners that get traction because like of the nature of like putting something crazy on the front page. It shows it to everybody, and if people interact with it, it'll just show it to more people. But yeah, like ideally you have it that way where it's like an entertaining thing and you hop on for a couple hours. But they're out there, and I totally share your sentiment with Twitter. Not so much Reddit. I don't use Reddit as much, but so I guess I've seen bad stuff from like emanate from Reddit, but definitely I'm starting to see like Twitter also has that effect in its own way, for sure. So.
Well, like I feel like you're still kind of innocent. I haven't heard of the big like Noah cancellation or the big Noah controversy yet, but like Twitter, I find just it creates that, because the longer you spend on there, the more like even saying something benign like, hey, I've had a wonderful soup today, good soup, like someone is going to be like, oh yeah, of course you would say that, you fucking coward, right? And then immediately like, oh, why are we fighting? And now we have a blood feud, and like I didn't know it originated from something as benign.
It's like I like this soup was so good, and it's like, so you don't like cereal then? You hate cereal? You want everyone that likes cereal to die instead of soup? It's like, that's not what I said. I mean, that's the meme, but I totally hear you. I actually had an experience recently. I woke up, I was a little pissed off about something. I tweeted just a vague sentiment about fascists, and I saw like Hassan liked it, and I was like, okay, this could be bad, because then I don't know, I didn't think of anything like of it. And then it like a bunch of people kind of got mad at me in different ways, and this was the first, like I just hit 10,000 followers, I think 2 weeks ago. And so, and I've seen that tweet 100 times. Like once you hit 10K, the site becomes unusable. And this was like the most visceral, perfect example of that happening. And now I know it's like, okay, if you're pissed off, if you have something to say, don't tweet it. Don't tweet it, because someone will interpret it the wrong way, and then a lot of people will interpret it the wrong way. And it's in that regard, I now know why it is hell for the oppression of the verified, the blue checks. Like it's just hard here.
The oppression of the verified. Well, no, I think Contra put it well. She's like, when you pass 10,000, you go from being the dunker to the donkey, or the dunked upon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's partially true. You become a target for everyone, right? Everyone's like, oh, we have to take down this Noah guy. He's talking about cereal again.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you get the delivery from? Because your shit's pretty unique, right? Like no one else has really gone for this kind of like it's kind of like almost like cozy ASMR kind of like narration into just like out of nowhere. I did not expect a punchline to like slap me in the face kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, one thing I hear a lot is people to say I sound like a Rick and Morty character, and I don't think that's never been like intentional, but I like Rick and Morty, so I like if that happens, then that's something that just happens. But I guess like I think with regards to like the kind of calmer stuff, I do gravitate towards more like casual stuff, and I know I've filmed stuff in the past where I'm like really kind of delivering it like it's a eulogy or a speech, and it makes me cringe when I look back at that. So kind of calming it down over time has just created that, I guess. But yeah, also in tune with like learning how to just write, as opposed to like having something you want to say, turning the camera on, filming yourself kind of bumbling through it and then chopping it together. Like there's a lot of older videos of mine that are like that, and I think it's through repetition of learning. Like once you make it, you look back, you see how it looks, see how it makes you feel, and then you just adjust. I guess that's a long way of saying like it just sort of every video makes it adds more to the process, I guess.
Yeah, people are saying that you sound like Justin Roiland's normal voice if he's not doing a character.
Oh, really? Like while I'm talking now, or in my videos?
I think in the videos, but maybe a little now. It's hard. Like where do you begin and the YouTube personality ends?
Oh, I don't know. I guess that's the question that I will have to answer eventually.
How much of yourself have you given, Noah? That's the question.
Yeah. How do we divorce the art from the artist? But yeah, I don't know.
No, fair enough. One of the things I wanted to ask you is that you seem to be in tune with younger culture, the Zoomer culture. I don't want to ask your age or anything like that, but myself, I'm a filthy millennial. And you seem to understand. You're tapped in. You're plugged in. So I just want to know, is that from spending so much time in these kind of like areas that may be like TikTok and stuff like that, and analyzing it from a leftist perspective, or the r/are the straights okay kind of forums, stuff like that? Like you seem to know, your stuff. I'm just curious where that comes from.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like on the cut. Well, okay, I'm technically am a Zoomer. I'm 24.
Okay.
And I think like 26 or 27 is the cusp of millennial. So I don't know exactly where I put myself on the spectrum of like the stuff I consume, but definitely when it comes to YouTube, I'd say my content skews towards the commentary people, and the commentary people keep up a lot on like the kind of younger stuff. I wouldn't even say I'm that tapped in though, because some shit I'll just see, I'll catch a stray on my timeline, and I have no clue what's going on, and I'll just read it, and it'll just like evaporate from my brain after that, and that's just okay. It doesn't make me feel old, but it makes me feel like there's definitely like I'm not like that on the ground, but definitely there's just different levels to it. So yeah, like TikTok is a place where a lot of that stuff congregates, like the super meta, like weird, like like I did a video a while ago on TikTok comments, and a lot of the stuff is so like triple, quadruple layers of irony of kids that like I can never tell if it is a joke or if it's not. Like I remember one I saw recently that actually I found very funny was like some Zoomer girl on a TikTok, the text said like, "Whoa, look at this crazy new earring I found," and it was like an iPod Clip Nano. I don't know if you remember those, the ones that clipped on.
Yeah,
She's like wearing it as an earring, and she got quoted by some older person, like a millennial, that was like, "Damn, kids are so out of touch these days," or whatever. And I was like, "No, dude, that's actually that's a funny joke." Like saying that, this piece, like I'm so young, I don't know that this, this like, obviously it's a device of some sort. It's like just an earring or whatever. I thought it was very funny, but also like there's definitely disconnects. I don't remember what you asked me, but
no, but see, just that answer and that video too, I learned a lot, because like I'm terminally online, so I do get a feel for perhaps how irony pilled and or doomer pilled sometimes Zoomers are. I personally don't really understand why there's this thing with millennials to kind of like look down upon Zoomers. I feel bad for Zoomers. I understand the kind of like the reason why, if you were much younger, why you'd feel like an existential crisis to the world. Like how could you not? I'm almost in my 40s and I can't afford a home, and that's the plight of the millennial. It's like, oh, you can't buy a house yet because you loved avocados your entire life, and you rejected the avocado or all that kind of shit. And for Zoomers, it's like, yeah, the world is progressively fucked up, and I'm just entering it. I'm supposed to be the entry to the workforce, or the secondary education or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just progressively more doomed every generation in terms of like what you have to do and what you're experiencing as the world, and like the media cycles, blah blah blah. It just layers on, and yeah, I definitely like disconnect from the sort of like anti-boomer humor is funny, but I'm sort of like, as time goes on, divorcing myself from it, and like shifting downwards towards the area of culture that's surrounding me, and it is weird and it sucks for all of us, but that's what makes a lot of it kind of fun to, or like important to just be able to like laugh at shit and make fun of stuff and dunk or like whatever stuff that kind of just keeps your mind occupied from facing reality. It's good. We love it over here. We love repression. Thumbs up, 2 thumbs way up. So
what do you think the change has been since when you started maybe watching like left tubers or whatever you want to call them, and like maybe being inspired by a video to where it is now and where you think it's going?
yeah, there's been a few things that I feel like have happened. I mean, recently, if you're familiar with Feek the Signifier, or FD Signifier, he had a really good video on BreadTube called Break Bread, and that was like kind of like in my mind like a marking post of like a slight shift. Again, like I'm new here. I wouldn't consider myself an expert in any regards. I just like watch a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of critiques that like open and close they have over time, talking about like how LaCroix burps, how
No worries.
different spaces interact online, and how they interpret things, and like the narratives that are being used. And I guess like that is one thing I look back to. But then previously, yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything that you have in mind on that front in terms of like how you've seen it shift? Because you've been here for a while, right?
Yeah, I guess a little while, not as long as like the bourgeois six or whatever you want to call them, the huge bread tubers. I can say this from a streaming perspective right away, right? Because I came onto Twitch like 2.5 years ago, I think is when I started. I left YouTube because YouTube was demonetizing every live stream I had where I would interview someone who was part of the LGBTQ plus. They would just be like, no money for you. And then I was like, well, that's fucked up. So I'm going to go check out this Twitch thing. So that's why I came to Twitch. And back then it was kind of like this utopia of all these different lefty creators using all these things that were invented for video games for mingling with each other. Like a raid was supposed to be to like, raid another player and be like, I'm sending all my fans to your fans and they're going to talk smack and they're going to say how shitty you are. But now you could do it to send all your like, your followers to someone else so they could find a smaller follower or even like, a different community or stuff. So that was all neat. And everyone was friendly to each other. And like, for the most part, it wasn't like really sketchy or dangerous. And now it feels very sketchy and dangerous. I don't know what created that paradigm shift, but I found that maybe it's also a sign of the times, because if I'm being honest, online politics in general seems a lot more aggressive than it used to be, at least a couple of years ago, but I could be completely wrong. Maybe someone's going to be like, oh, so if you were alive during the McCarthy era, we literally locked each other up if we didn't agree with someone politically. So, you kids have it just fine. But yeah, I don't know if you've felt that from the YouTube side of things. I don't know if you dabble in the Twitch.
I watch some, like I watch like some gaming content on Twitch, and occasionally like I'll watch some Hassan. And I don't like, I'm not plugged into, until recently I haven't been plugged into like Twitch politics, Twitch political drama, the whole sphere. And I start to catch strays on my timeline about that, and I'm like, this is too much. Like I can't. There's too much going on. There's too much like, yeah. So this person says you should go to federal prison if you wear sandals or something like this. I can't keep up with this while also living a normal life. But I mean, it's like, it's good that it's active, but also there's a lot of crazy shit. But I think yeah, the thing you said about rating, I did want to ask really quick, like when you were starting out, because that's one metric or one feature of Twitch that is I think really special, and also it makes it like growing on Twitch is also a form of networking. I just see it from the outside as that, like growing from nothing, because there's no discovery features. I mean, not really like YouTube. There's no algorithm. It's like, what was that?
There
like
absolutely is,
you,
but it's not very supportive for starting creators. Like the whole algorithm on Twitch is based on how many concurrent viewers you have at any given time. So if someone was trying to start out on Twitch, my advice would be like, get all your friends and their parents to turn on their devices if they're not using them, and just leave it on your stream. They don't have to watch you, but just leave it on. And so you have like 10 people watching. That'll bump you up in the algorithm. But if you're asking just in general how to help out if you're on Twitch, Twitch is I think Twitch is cutthroat compared to YouTube for growth. I don't think it is. I don't think it is a good platform for starting out. It's certainly not good for sustaining yourself. Like YouTube's really rough. YouTube takes what, 60% of your ad revenue? Is it 60 or is it 50?
Around 50, and I think
50?
30 from donations.
Okay. See, that's better. The 30 from donation. Twitch is even more ruthless than that. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it on Twitch, because Twitch is really big on banning people for talking about that kind of stuff too. But either way, there is a big push right now, and I'm starting to see it, and I'm supporting it on the left for smaller creators to get bigger cuts. Because, like, you know, if Hassan misses 2 days, yeah, he loses out on, I don't know, 10 grand or something like that, right? But he's fine, like, in the scheme of things, right? Whereas, like, if a smaller creator suddenly misses 7 days, they might not be able to make rent, is kind of the case with the platform.
Yeah, they incentivize, like, your cut grows as you grow, right? But that means, like, when you need it most, you're not getting it, right?
Exactly. But sorry, were you asking about raids specifically, as in, like, what Twitch?
Oh, I was just, I guess, asking about, like, your experience, like, with your guys' channel, like how you've seen it grow and change over time. Because, in my mind, like, the BreadTube YouTube space exists somewhat parallel to Twitch, but, like, has that have those interlocked at times, or has that, like, affected your experience?
I'm one of the few people, I think, who had his fingers in all the pies, because I was making long form documentaries on YouTube while also slowly, like, moving over to Twitch. So I had a small audience that just came to Twitch to find me there. So it wasn't like I had to build that from scratch. So that really helped. But my YouTube channel completely died when I stopped giving it the juicy milk of content, because it needs that to sustain itself. So yeah, the crunch is real, everyone. As is the whatever. Like, if you don't upload just the juiciest content on a regular basis, they'll punish you for the rest of the time. But Twitch, at first, I thought was awesome, because you are right. It was a lot more networking than YouTube, and that's mostly because of raid features. I think, like, YouTube, if they added that would do a lot of things. Because it's wild sometimes. You'll have a complete stranger who you've never heard of suddenly send, like, 100 viewers into your stream, and that can happen out of nowhere. You know, like, if you had
I remember I was playing this game called Maple Story. It's like this old MMORPG. It's like a Korean game, and I was just randomly playing it with like 5 viewers, and I got raided by a guy who's, like, my friend now. But it was the first time. This was like 3 years ago. I think I had like 50 viewers out of nowhere, and when you're normally a 3-viewer streamer, it's like, this is like, I'm just like, thank you so much. This is so crazy. It's a special thing. So yeah, like, YouTube adding raids would be incredible. I know I saw Ludwig. He's a huge streamer. Just came over to YouTube, and I don't know, like, who else really streams on YouTube. That, I guess, like, Vosh does, and maybe a couple other political people, but
the majority
that
report,
would be a really cool feature for sure.
Yeah, no, it was a really good networking tool. As is hosting. That's the other one I really like. You can set auto hosting. So my channel 24/7 is hosting other creators' channels, and you can also rank them, because you can rank them from, like, I mean, you can do it based on your own popularity, but, like, I usually try to do it for, like, you know, smaller people who get less views. You can put it at the very top, all the way down to, like, Hassan, for whatever reason, if you ever needed the bump, you know.
Needs a little boost, yeah.
Yeah.
To get a garage or whatever that guy needs.
I was also going to ask you about where do you see yourself going with all this, because you're pretty far left in your messaging, right? Like, I just watched your video on landlords. Actually, I think did I play it on stream? I can't remember. And, like, it was like everything is like, I don't know if you like the labels, or if you like to establish where you are on the political yeah which corner you find yourself in. But yeah, you definitely, like, you approach those things from a far leftist perspective. Are you looking to be, like, a storyteller or an educator, or are you also hoping, like, hey, if I could just get to, like, 200,000 subs, I'm so self-sustaining that I could actually start the Noah Samsen Foundation for special gifted people, or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think, like, just recently I found a place where, like, and like month to month, it can be hit or miss or whatever with like stability. But I do feel a sense of like, okay, I'm at a place where I'm like not stressing about the future as much as I always have been, because it's always like a thought of like, you know, basically the anecdote I go back to is I used to work at Papa John's, and I like I don't know if I could. I mean, if I had to, I could, but like just the fear of having to go back to that. I say it like it's like the war or something, but it is like very, you know, it's degrading. And if anyone has worked any customer service job, it's like it's something that's on the back of your mind. So lately I've been feeling a sense of stability, and yeah, like moving forward, I guess like my strategy, not to give away the game, but it is like to sort of create a niche or fill a niche of like left commentary YouTube that's more kind of broadly applicable, while also bringing in theory or like kind of injecting communism here and there, like just putting stuff, just like making it like palatable, but also like, and I don't know, we'll see what happens and how that works, but it's been working okay so far. And again, I don't like using labels. You know, I've talked to a few people that have said like, it's better if you just kind of call yourself a socialist, call yourself a communist, maybe, but even then, it's like if, like optically, you know, you can have your beliefs, and I do have my own beliefs, and again, like I'm not even like that well read as a person, and like I acknowledge that, and I want to like keep working towards understanding, like coming to a coherent political worldview, which I do not have now. But I think like those two things, like content that's good and engaging and that will get reach, as well as developing my political sort of ideology while pushing for whatever I can, like a Trojan horse, basically, but also eventually some kind of foundation or anything like that. Like I've always said, like I don't need really anything other than just what I need to get by. I don't like. I was looking at moving abroad or moving to places where I can just like, you know, live very simply, but also use as much as I can to like, you know, support things I believe in. Like we just did a charity stream on New Year's, and it ended up being about $3,500. It was impromptu. Just kind of I started playing Dark Souls. Some people started donating. I was like, all right, let's do this, and then it.
Oops, sorry, that was the wrong button. My Stream Deck is broken. I was trying to push the applause button. There we go. Now it's working.
Oh yeah, you're broke.
Instead of
I make that in an hour.
No, I know. I was like, instead of celebrating, I did like a hate crime. That was wonderful. Good job, Lance. Fantastic.
For sure. No, but like I'm really excited about stuff like that, because like it is.
No, that's absolutely fucking amazing. Are you kidding me? That's incredible. I wish more people did that. I wish more people fucking just jumped on board and were like, yeah, let's do a fundraiser charity. And the fact that you raised $3,500, that's really, really cool.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I mean, it's like I want to like, because now I know, like, well, I knew from before when people set stuff like that up, they really kind of get everyone involved, and they like bring on guests and all this stuff. And so that was really just from my chat and like the people that are in my kind of area, and that was amazing. But that also makes me think, okay, like now moving forward, I can like kind of plan it out. And I mean, people are, you know, super down to collaborate on stuff like that all the time for good causes. So I'm super into that for sure. But yeah, it at the end of the game, the strategy is like sort of commentary YouTube with political sort of tendencies, basically.
That's super cool, though. What brought on the idea of the charity stream? Was it something you'd been meaning to do?
Somebody donated a bunch of money, and I was like, yeah, let's just put. If you're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Like, let's just put the thing. We'll put a thing on, and we'll make it a charity stream. And I don't know. I guess I'm still not used to the like thing how like if someone donates, you're supposed to be like, oh, thank you. And like people who donate like repeatedly, I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like I know whatever you got going on. Like, or I mean, not even like that. I know like you donating once is good enough, and just watching is good enough. Like I don't know. It's weird. I guess I'm uncomfortable with people giving me money, even though like I do have a Patreon and stuff. I don't know. What's your relationship with that? Like how do you deal with that over time? Because
yeah, I usually I guess I got to a point through streaming that I could like look after myself, so I don't really do the whole like once a stream it's like, okay, everybody, let's dig in deep, pull out of your pockets because it's time to fund the show. Like I make enough to live off, so I'm comfy. I think that's noble of you that you thought the donations were too frequent or too like. I think maybe just you should accept the fact that some people just want to support your work, as in like they want to make sure that there are more Noah videos in the future, and they know the best way to help you do that is make sure you never get back to Papa John's. So it's kind of like an anti Papa John's fund more than it is like a Noah Samsen fund, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about it like that, but that is true. I'll have to add a ticker next time with like Papa John's head at the start where it's at 0. And then Papa John's head crossed out.
It's like, oh, I didn't want to do this. We're getting pretty damn close, you know. I can already smell that pizza.
Yeah, it's good pizza.
I wanted to ask you also about maybe a controversial topic or two, if that's okay. But it's based on your own video topics, so I assumed you might be okay talking about
okay. As long as it's sure, go for it.
Yeah. It's one of the videos. I just watched it the other day actually, because right now Jake Paul is in the news, and he's in a lot of my feeds. And he's in a lot of the Twitters because apparently he's done a wonderful good thing and we have to celebrate it. And I do genuinely believe that it is a good thing if one of the most famous YouTubers / boxers is talking about better workers' rights and talking about how the UFC should have higher pay, especially and better medical services for people who deal with trauma. I think that is all good. Thumbs up, and I'm on board with it. But you don't I think you were one of the only people besides maybe like myself and I think 2 others that I saw that were really prominently trying to talk about how, hey, why don't we ever talk about the sexual assault part of Jake Paul, because we usually only talk about him where it's like, oh, he's done another bad thing and it's shitty, or he's won a boxing match and that's cool, or this is happening and that's that. And then I came across your video and I was like that was very refreshing, first off, because again, either people weren't talking about it or they didn't want to like do a deep dive, I could say. So maybe my question is what brought that along? What are your thoughts on the current pro Jake Paul discourse that's happening? I think I frequently use your video when people are like, why do we hate this guy again? And I'll be like, copy paste is usually what I do, but yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. That was like, I stumbled across, like, I think it was a month after the initial allegations came out. And I don't remember if it was an article or something. Maybe it was like a clip of an H3 video where the allegations got brought up, and I like looked into it, and it was just it was bizarre to me that no one was talking about how like very like clear and laid out it seemed to be like a situation where this should be something that should be like taken seriously. I was like initially like, okay, the reason this isn't like gaining traction is because everybody already hates this guy so much that it's like, what else, if he does another bad thing, then what is it? But it's like, that just really bothered me. So I that was the first video that I would consider like a video like that I worked really hard on the script. I remember like writing for, I don't know, like just 3 days straight, like 10 hours. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but like it was a lot. And then like having to cut it all and then start over. And because I was so like, I was like angry and I was like just weirded out that not only did no one talk about it, but the people that did were like kind of just brushed over it like it was just another sort of story. And oh fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, I guess I forgot. Hold on, give me a sec.
In the meantime, I will help you by playing more of the sound effects.
Yeah, hit the sound box. But yeah, well, I had seen a video. A friend of mine whose YouTube channel is Kunkin Dassner. His name's Duncan. He did a video about allegations against Ansel Elgort, which was another thing where it kind of like got swept under the rug, as this stuff often does. And I was kind of like, I remember that being in the back of my mind when I saw this happen. I was like, okay, like let's try to talk about this. And so. Yeah, I'm trying to think where I was going with what I was saying. Oh, just like the reason why I did it. Yeah, and then and what one of the biggest things was that all the like things that Jake was saying to defend himself from these allegations, like you just look into them for like 2 minutes, and all of them directly support the victim's testimony. Like all the things that he was claiming were like, oh, she's bullshit, she's lying, these people said this, these people said that. Like if you just take like 2 seconds to like search up the threads and stuff, they all like put him there at the scene of the crime, and they put him like, it's incredible. Like, if there was even a shred of doubt as to, like in my mind, as to if this person was telling the truth or not, that was immediately erased by the fact that he like incriminates himself every time he's talking about it. And like, I see him as being as someone who became famous early, didn't graduate high school, became like extremely rich, is has always got attention for being an idiot. And so it's not like I am surprised by something like that, but I was surprised by the lack of response for that. And yeah, so like the recent thing with him talking about the rights for the UFC fighters, I mean, that's objectively a good thing. Like I wouldn't ever, like I would support anyone doing that at any time. But it is a thing where like that's always in the back of my mind. Like he did that shit, and in my mind, based on you just look at what the evidence is, like a lot of people in the comments of that video are upset. They're like, innocent until proven guilty doesn't mean anything anymore. And it's like, no, a YouTube video isn't, court. It's, we're looking at this to say like what happened here, and why can we not talk about this just because, the articles have stopped posting about it because it's been a week and they're not going to get clicks. Like, I don't know. It's basically like that. But again, like you said, that type of stuff is good. And it's kind of like the like I was canceled on Twitter and now no one likes what I want to do. It's like, no, I'll say, like, if someone's pushing to, because the UFC especially is like a uniquely horrible situation for its workers. Definitely like super exploitative, super dangerous, and so that's good. But yeah, I mean that's just why I made that video. And sorry, rambled for a while there, but
no, but you answered all my questions. I was really curious about that, because I remember when I first started seeing like a lot of really big names retweeting him and being like, "This is so cool," blah blah blah. You were one of the first people I thought of, because I was like, I think you're the only one who did like a full video essay on it. Everyone else is just kind of like, yeah, that's an awkward accusation. I'll just say that. And I'm like, awkward accusation. I don't know. For me, like, I didn't know I didn't have the depth of research that you did on the subject. For me, I had just originally seen the video for speaking before I started looking into it, and then before I found your video. And I remember like just thinking to myself, I was like, if that was a performance, wow, that's incredible. Like, this person deserves all the awards, all the Academy Awards, because like I don't know. It's one of those Occam razors for me. Like it's what is more likely that there's this massive conspiracy that does not help someone's career, really. If anything, it actually introduced a whole sea of angry fans against you, versus all these things kind of lining up. Have you found you've gotten a lot of backlash from that? Is that your like most controversial video?
I'd say, yeah. It's one of them. Like, people. I think there's like just a general slant online, and probably anywhere that has the narrative in their heads. A girl accused someone of sexual assault right before a big fight. This is a story we've seen so much. Like it's like a fucking old. It's just some old like, sexist weird shit, and seeing it like commented all over, even after going through and like seeing how obviously, like, I mean, again, it's like you never truly know, but if you just take everything into account, like anyone that spins it as with these weird narratives of sorry, you asked about like the negative comments or the backlash, and that was the backlash, was people saying like it's he said versus she said, like this is, you're, if the world operates like this, then, nothing, like justice means nothing, or all this weird shit. And again, like I'm perfectly fine with backlash with a bunch of angry people all saying some really dumb shit. Like if the people that are angry are saying things that I vehemently disagree with, then that's totally fine with me. But it definitely was a lot of like cause for a lot of argument, and I mean that's okay. I like recently with the landlord video, a lot of backlash on there too from people that are like, that don't view landlords in the same way that I do, and I'm okay if people are mad at me because they um, think it's okay to film eviction videos and think it's like, it's your property, all this like weird sort of old-fashioned like hyper capitalist stuff. Like I'm okay if people are mad at me for that, because I'm like, I'm mad at you for thinking that, so it's sort of a mutual thing. But in terms of backlash, that's the only kind of backlash I've really had to deal with. I guess like there was some where I talked about Vosh in my left tube guide, stuff like that, from like on the opposite end. But it's all the same to me. It's just kind of like it's overwhelming, but you learn how to deal with it over time, I guess. I don't know.
No, that's so true. People, I often tell people, like, I was like, it's not natural. I don't think human beings evolved to have thousands and thousands of strangers talk or tell you what they think simultaneously. I was like, I don't know if that'll ever be normal. So there's some times where I'm just like, you know what, I'm just not gonna turn on these computer cubes and see what's going on out there. Well, because honestly, sometimes it's a lot nicer than just being like, oh, what did my notifications say today? Oh wow, that's a lot of human beings I've never met before who have serious, passionate hatred for me, and we've never had a conversation. That's weird. I don't know. I'm just gonna take a step back from this today and do something else.
Go for a walk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I had a couple other questions I wanted to ask you, but also I've had chat wanting to ask you a ton of questions too. Would you mind some questions from the audience?
Go ahead.
Sure
sounds good.
If they're in good spirits. And one of the things with that video, by the way, someone, I forget if they messaged me or maybe it was when we were watching it, I can't remember, but someone was asking, what is Noah's answer for, he said that all landlords are bastards because they're, again, charging rent on something that is an essential service. What would his argument be for someone who says, are all food producers or cooks bastards because they're also charging someone for something that is essential to life, that is food?
Oh, okay. Well, so both of the, like, if it's a spectrum of people profiting off of basic necessities, like I probably could have used a different phrase in terms of all X are bastards, and like this is kind of an argument that's happened before, which is like it's a spectrum in terms of, if you're a mom and pop landlord that like is keeping rent, is like rent controlled, like has a good relationship with the tenants, stuff like that. Like these are features of systems that already exist, and so in saying that anyone that supplies a system is a bastard, I still believe that, but it is a spectrum in the sense that these are the current systems. And so I if I'm looking at it from an idealistic perspective, which I tend to do, I say like, in a future where, everyone can have housing and landlords aren't necessary, anyone that still like has the inklings to want to do that is a bastard. But yeah, like the food producer argument, it's not like the food production system in the US or elsewhere don't have their inherent problems as well, don't have like overproduction, like all these, if it's geared towards profit, like it's going to have these issues that do not directly address the needs of people. Like if you're
40% is
throwing
wasted.
out, sorry?
40% is wasted in the United States. 40% of all food produced is thrown out.
So yeah, it's not like the greatest example to look at if you want to like point to an efficient system that has everyone looking out for the needs of the people. Like, look, you want to get mad at them? It's like, I kind of do, but not the people tending the farms, or not the people producing the food in that regard. In the same way, I wouldn't get mad at people that are building apartments, like actually physically building them. It's a different relationship. So, yes, both systems are broken, but again, it is a spectrum, and so like a lot of the people commenting, I think I could have articulated that better for people like that, have a parent that owns like an extra like garage or whatever that they rent out, or there's certain people that I'm not talking about, but I'm learning to like try to argue that stuff more clearly. But again, when you're kind of going for a dunk, you tend to, a lot of that stuff gets a little hazy, and I tend to do that. I'm working on it, but that'd be my answer to the food production question. So
no, that was actually a really good answer. So basically what you're saying is that you want a food rental service similar to like a Netflix, but people have to pay a subscription.
Yes.
Okay.
Like DoorDash, except more expensive and less pay for workers. And no unions, even though they already don't have unions. So.
Actually, I don't know if you know this. I think it's Foodora. Foodora had to leave Canada, where I'm from, because the threat of unionization was getting too real. And they're like, well, you could either change from being these subcontracting style food delivery services, or you could just might have to leave the country and not have to worry about a mass unionization effort that's taking place here. And they're like, leave. we'd rather keep exploiting people in other countries than have to succumb to something there. Yeah.
I mean, nice work standing your ground. That's the only time I support the, you don't like it, you should just leave the country. I support it for unions. I support that. In that specific instance, I support. That's cool.
Can you ask?
On the other part, but.
Oh, sorry. Can you ask if he got awkward as he edits for Noel Miller, and Noel Miller is in the big YouTuber scene, regarding your Jake Paul video?
Oh, I mean, I like Noel and Cody, who like kind of came on YouTube together. Like some of their biggest videos, interactions are like making fun of that guy. So I haven't like talked to him about it again because it's like this is more serious content than just looking at something dumb that he did and making fun of it. But it's never come up as an issue because I mean we just haven't discussed it. But when you're discussing, things that are more serious, it's it at the end of the day, it is still occurring on YouTube. It's not me making, taking a legal case and getting involved with anything like that. And so, yeah, nothing's ever come out of that in terms of awkwardness. So
if you could have a moon base next to Big Money Salvia, would you?
Big Money Salvia?
Oh, you don't know Big Money Salvia?
No.
Do you ever watch Internet Comment Etiquette?
No.
Wait, okay.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, you have
too old?
No, you just have many funny YouTubes to enjoy. It's just a guy who basically makes a show out of replying to YouTube comments, and it sounds silly, but it works very well. But
okay.
Yeah.
Wait, is it like they're like weird to kind of misspelled comments, and he'll read them all funny?
He'll read all the funny and silly ones that other people have written, and then he'll contribute his own, which is usually like a small essay, but just the most eloquent, horrifying thing you could probably imagine. He's really good at spinning that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. All right. What's the next one? I'm asking this as an autistic person. I've heard you say that you're neurodivergent. I'm wondering if you're willing or comfortable to talk about it, and if not, please tell Lance to move on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm. I guess I don't talk about it often, but I don't mind talking about it. I'm diagnosed bipolar, so and I have in the past had some stuff going with that. I'm in a pretty stable place. I have been in my life for a while. With medication and stuff like that, but it does creep in terms of like in the past with being someone who works on their own schedule, it causes its own problems because if your body is elevated to like a mania period and your sleep is really bad, then you have the lenience to not like have to wake up and go somewhere, and if you don't, you'll be fired. You can allow things to slip, so it creates problems in that regard. But I've like I've been in a good place for a while, and especially with having a consistent thing to do. Like this past year, I've been editing one video a week for a client, and then my own stuff as well, trying to keep on top of it. So that, along with medication and treatment, it's all good. But that's just my history with it. So
I'm really happy to hear that you've got that managed. I struggled for a really long time with having like really severe ADHD when I was streaming, because people would send you like 500 links, and I would actually have full streams where I spent like 3 hours talking about the weirdest thing going down. We discovered the Jeb Bush Orchestra. Like there's an actual orchestra called the Jeb Bush Orchestra. I can't remember how we got there. But no, Jeb Bush isn't in it. No, he's not. But they actually, it's like a bunch of white people who play like really good jazz and reggae song.
My god,
it's an utterly bizarre rabbit hole. I have no idea, but it took us like 3 hours, and then by the end of it I was like, oh yeah, I forget what the show is about. I hope you enjoyed the Jeb Bush Orchestra. And then someone else is asking about my parents are landlords, but they fall into that category as long as they're not being too bad. They're not that bad, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to put it. As long as they're not being bad, then they're not bad. Like I yeah, I mean I empathize with because there are good people out there, you know, doing anything, even in systems that are broken. But um, the point of my critique is was and could have been more clear to be towards people that are like predatory. And even though, you know, people that are good aren't predatory, it's still a system that I want to abolish at the end of the day. So bad in that
Yeah,
sense is
agreed.
kind of like an ethereal sort of moral uh, boundary that can be drawn. But yeah, like I'm not gonna like not hang out with you anymore if I found out you guys have like a dupe, like, you know, whatever, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's all good.
yeah. Do you see yourself getting more specifically political in your videos in the future, or focusing more on current culture topics?
Plan is to get really big and then only do culture commentary and become a liberal and become a neoliberal, and then yeah, be a blue no matter who, that type of guy. No,
Hell yeah.
I that's a good thing because I think about that like a common critique is that as you grow, your radical politics become pacified, you know, inherently as growth and larger audiences do. And that's something I want to try my best to like in terms of what I make. I don't think I'll ever. I'll try my best to not allow that to change, but definitely forget what I was gonna say. Definitely keeping a balance, you know,
Mhm.
because I don't know everything, so I'm trying to learn just as much as anybody that's like watching anything on YouTube is trying to learn. So um, I think just trying to improve, I guess, and yeah, while keeping the spirit of talking about the things that I believe in, or you know, occasionally I'll just go off on a tangent and make you know video about something that's just dumb and that's on my mind, and that's fine too. Um, but I do like have sort of aspirations to stay on somewhat of a line like politically. So
I was gonna say, you know how I was asking you about like what is your political affiliation. I one of the reasons why I think it's not even necessary to say that anymore is that everyone else will sign you one. You know, you're gonna be like, you know, that little joke that you just made. Obviously, someone's gonna like take a clip and it's like, hey, look, Noah's actually a radlib who's trying to exploit people and become rich, and now he's gonna become a liberal, right? And the next day, it's gonna be like, well,
yeah,
actually, no, he's like a full blown anarcho-communist who doesn't understand like capitalism requires this. You know, like it doesn't matter what you
yeah,
choose.
nothing matters. Yeah.
Someone says, do you have any particular lefty media that you watch and read on a regular basis?
Mm. Um, Trying to think. I've actually recently some more news watch like every week, except the last Marvel one. I've been watching. That's like been one of the really great ones. But also like I watch a lot of in terms of like where I get things to read, things like that. There's a lot of really cool smaller channels. Saint Andrewism, um, Zig Zizzy, which is like he's a small channel. He hasn't posted much, but he's really good. Um, Zoe Baker or Anarcho Pack, I think is originally the
Mm-hmm.
name, and just like a lot of people I follow on Twitter, where I get like stuff to read from, and then in terms of like I started listening to leftist stuff with Chapo in like 2016 when they around like just as the Bernie campaign was starting, kind of. And so I still occasionally listen, and I'll listen to like podcasts like that. But yeah, I'm bad with like recommending specific things. If my channel has like a list of channels that I really rock with their content, so you could probably go on there and see that listed somewhere. So
I was gonna say it was also the name of like two very popular videos you released. It was just a whole bunch of leftist creators.
right, true.
And then saving the best question for last, Noah. Everyone wants to know, what is your mustache routine, and do you use wax?
Oh, okay. Well, I use conditioner.
Mm.
I think it's like a beard conditioner. Um, but my routine, I used to have a very big problem because I used to use a trimmer, and what would happen is
Clean
I
up
would
your
trim one
room.
side, and then I would trim the other side, and it would be a little shorter, and then I would have to trim the other side, and it eventually would get really, really, short to a place where I'd have to shave it. But then I picked up some scissors. So now I use scissors, I sculpt it, and then I use a little bit of conditioner. I don't ever shampoo it, but I just keep it try to keep it combed and stuff like that. And that's basically it. I'll update anyone if that changes. Though I'll make sure to put out a memo, put out an email or something. So.
I first just want to apologize, by the way. If you heard like Jordan Peterson repeatedly through this, it's because for some reason my notifications are also connected through my sound channels. So I didn't notice this until yesterday when I was talking to R.A. the Rugged Man, that all my notifications were popping up in his headphones too. So that wasn't with intent. I wasn't trying.
Oh wow! Did he say anything?
Well, at one point he was like, "What the fuck was that?" I was like, "I'm sorry. Those are people subscribing. It's hard to explain." And then I had to explain to him what hot tub streaming was, and he was both intrigued and confused.
Oh, that's awesome! What a crossover.
Noah, I can't thank you enough. This was an absolute pleasure to finally talk to you and learn what's behind the stash.
Yeah, it was great, man. I appreciate you having me on, and thank you for way back sharing my video. You were one of the first people that watched it on a stream, and I was super nervous and excited. And I'm still nervous and excited at doing a live interview, but very cool to have it come for full circle. So thank you definitely for having me on.
And now you're being watched by like Hassan, and you have like 3 times as many subs as me. You've become the undisclosed champion of the left.
It's like the master Splinter with
yes.
the turtles. You know that photo? Yeah. Except it has to happen again though. So
that's true.
We'll make it happen. Once I get my streaming, once YouTube hosting happens, I'll figure out how to do that, and then we can do it back and forth, just sort of ping pong until we are up there with like PewDiePie and that other channel. So.
I don't know if I like total sidebar. I don't know if I'd like that. I actually enjoy not walking around and having like everyone recognize you in the street. Whereas I assume PewDiePie has to go through that. Or maybe I don't know. I don't know if the internet culture is still the internet culture and normies in the street don't recognize anyone from the internet.
Yeah, sure. Just start wearing a mask or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out when it comes to it.
Thanks so much, Noah. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh wait. Before I leave,
wait.
Can you? Are you live in Twitch in any way? Like, can I raid you? Can I send everyone your way?
Oh, I'm live on YouTube. Rip.
Okay.
I am streaming on YouTube though, and like, there's the most people that I've ever had in my stream. There's 370 people. So,
hi everybody.
Everyone. I haven't been interacting with chat, but yeah, I'm assuming that's probably mostly from you guys. So yeah.
I'll try to send them there somewhere. I'll just give them an order. Yeah, that'll be it. Be like, yay! All of you have a parasocial relationship that I'm going to exploit. Go to Noah Samsen's YouTube right now.
It's a gold mine. Never stops giving. All
right, bye, mate. Oh, that was awesome! What an amazing, wholesome person. That was really cute. I had a great time, and I learned a lot about the CIA. There's that. There's that thing I have gone over. Oh, nice. Yeah. I guess. I mean, I have to raid somebody, or it's a waste of. It's a waste of internet things, but everybody should go to youtube.com/Noah Samsen. It's Noah Samsen, right? Yeah, youtube.com/Noah Samsen, and go say hi. Go say hi to Noah. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we beseech thee to smite down our enemies. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble court jesters, here to amuse you. To our lords, Trevor R., we give thanks for this spit of land for us to eke out this meager existence. To our knights, Merid, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Ellie Leslie, Alex P., Brandon, Words Greenwood, Nate, that one guy, Hagbird Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Val 9000, Jenna Tall, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multi Mondi, Trevor Yanis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren42, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our flag in a veil, and we salute you, our friends.